pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Expertise so deep, they delve into the mysteries, secrets diseases keep. Developing new tests, pushing boundaries wide for better diagnosis with knowledge as their guide. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. So raise a glass to these heroes on Biomedical Science Day. For the health of every patient, they pave a clearer way. Their dedication, knowledge, a force you can't deny. The silent warriors of medicine with a twinkle in their eye. In the heart of the hospital, a different kind of fight. Not with scalpels or with stitches, but with knowledge and with light. Biomedical scientists, a team you might not see, but behind the scenes they're working for your health and for your glee. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical lab assistants with precision in their hand, preparing slides and samples, making sure we understand the intricate details, the messages within. They ensure the results are accurate to fight against the wind. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical scientists with expertise so deep, they delve into the mysteries, secrets diseases keep. Developing new tests, pushing boundaries wide for better diagnosis with knowledge as their guide. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. So raise a glass to these heroes on Biomedical Science Day. For the health of every patient, they pave a clearer way. Their dedication, knowledge, a force you can't deny. The silent warriors of medicine with a twinkle in their eye. Hospital, a different kind of fight. Not with scalpels or with stitches, but with knowledge and with light. Biomedical scientists, a team you might not see, but behind the scenes they're working for your health and for your glee. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical lab assistants with precision in their hand, preparing slides and samples, making sure we understand the intricate details, the messages within. They ensure the results are accurate to fight against the wind. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical scientists with expertise so deep, they delve into the mysteries, secrets diseases keep. Developing new tests, pushing boundaries wide for better diagnosis with knowledge as their guide. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. the unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. So raise a glass to these heroes on Biomedical Science Day. For the health of every patient, they pave a clearer way. Their dedication, knowledge, a force you can't deny. The silent warriors of medicine with a twinkle in their eye. In the heart of the hospital, a different kind of fight. Not with scalpels or with stitches, but with knowledge and with light. Biomedical scientists, a team you might not see, but behind the scenes they're working for your health and for your glee. From blood tests to culture, to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical lab assistants with precision in their hand, preparing slides and samples, making sure we understand the intricate details, the messages within. They ensure the results are accurate to fight against the wind. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical scientists with expertise so deep, they delve into the mysteries, secrets diseases keep. Developing new tests, pushing boundaries wide for better diagnosis with knowledge as their guide. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle. The glass to these heroes on Biomedical Science Day. For the health of every patient, they pave a clearer way. Their dedication, knowledge, for your glee. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical lab assistants with precision in their hand, preparing slides and samples, making sure we understand the intricate details, the messages with.
All right, so good afternoon, colleagues, good afternoon, guests. You are welcome to today's of the Medical Laboratory Scientists Without Borders. On behalf of the National Executive Council, we warmly welcome all of us to this insightful meeting. Today we have with us one of our own who have come from the lowest of our profession to the highest of our profession, and even in one of the highest positions in academia. We have with us Professor Richard. I don't want to make mistake. Let me just go through and address him properly so that he can meet our needs very well. So we have with us Professor K.D. Ephraim, who is an associate professor of chemical pathology and with the Department of Medical Laboratory Science, University of Cape Coast. He worked as the Vice Dean of the School of Allied Health Sciences and currently the head of Department of the Medical Laboratory Science Department of the University of Cape Coast. I don't want to give too much information about him because we are going to interview him and he'll share a lot more about himself with us. And so without much ado, I have Professor K.D. Ephraim with us. And I'm not going to do this alone. I'm going to do this with my brother, Bernard Jan. Bernard, are you around?
Yes, I'm here, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm always grateful for your support. Within time, when the PRO is available, he will join us and also contribute to the discussion. So, Prof, you are welcome. Hello, Prof. So, Professor Ephraim, are you here with us? Prof has been waiting since the link was on. Let me just confirm whether he's around so that we can start. So just give us a few minutes to reach out to him.
From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a puzzle they unfold. The unsung heroes of healthcare with more than purest gold. Medical lab assistants with precision in their hand, preparing slides and samples, making sure we understand the intricate details, the messages within. They ensure the results are accurate to fight again. From blood tests to cultures to tissues under glass, they analyze the data, making diagnosis pass. Monitoring treatment, a they unfold with expertise so deep. They delve into the mysteries, secrets, diseases keep. Developing new tests, pushing boundaries wide for better diagnosis with knowledge as their guide. From blood tests to culture,
Hello, Dr. Kwashi.
Under glass, they analyze the.
Hello, Dr. Kwashi. Hello, Dr. Kwashi. Can you hear me, please?
I can hear you very well.
I think that Prof has sent a message in the chat requesting you to allow him to unmute. So if you could look at the settings.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Prof, you are welcome.
Thank you.
We apologize for the delay. We had to organize ourselves. We just came out from the Labor Commission, also trying to support MELPU in the negotiation process. So pardon us for the delay.
No worries, sir.
All right. So we are glad to have you today. You are one of the great names we've heard of in the profession and we continue to hear. So we want to find out who actually is Professor Richard K.D. Ephraim.
Thank you for the opportunity. and then the platform to share with colleagues and then the junior ones who aspire to reach dizzy heights in the medical lab profession. I would say that Professor Richard Commander's Ephraim is a medical laboratory professional. I prefer to call myself a medical laboratory professional who has risen through the ranks academically and is currently an associate professor of chemical pathology with the University of Cape Coast. I also double as the vice dean of the School of Allied Health Sciences. I have been associated with the medical laboratory profession since 1999. If I add the 3 years I spent in training, then I would say that I've been with the medical laboratory fraternity for the past 25 years. So in brief, that is what I would say.
That is impressive. I think some of us were still in secondary school trying to find fit when you started your journey in this profession. So looking through your profile, you started your practice from the School of Medical Laboratory Technology with a certificate in medical laboratory science and rose to the rank of an associate professor in academia. When you started your training, how did you actually get into this profession?
Okay, so my first association with medical lab, or if I should say with this laboratory profession, if I should say, came through an accident. It was accidental. It wasn't planned. In that, you know, I grew up in Manprobi, and we have one family house in Polygon. So either I'm in Manprobi or I'm in Polygon. So I was spending some time with my grandmother, and we had this auntie who was working with the medical school library. So she visited and she saw me at home. That was after SS. And everybody knew me that I wanted to either read journalism or be a lawyer. But I was waiting because those days, back in the day, when you finish SS, you have to spend 2 years before you are able to further your education. So when she came home and she saw me, she said, what are you doing here? Tomorrow, come to the library and I'll take you somewhere. So I visited her and she took me to good old Mr. Ite. And Mr. Ite said, oh, when they sell the forms, or in fact, they don't sell forms, that the interview will be in November. So November, I've forgotten the date. I should come for the interview. So I think that was in November 96. I went to the old LabTech building. I think it is now the council's office. And I went through the interview. And in February 1997, I started the School of Medical Laboratory Technology, as it used to be called then. So we graduated in December 1999. And in fact, we finished in December 99. And we had to do our mandatory internship in Kolebu and other places. I think Kolebu, Adanfo, and I think Amasaman also back then. And then after our graduation, official graduation in 2000, I think August, thereabouts, I had admission to read MedLab in KNUST. So I was in KNUST when my posting came. That was in March 2001. So I was juggling the two. I was working I was posted to the Ashanti region, in fact, and I wanted a place on the Accra Kumasi Road so that I can run to school, you know, and be working at the same time. So I was at the Asante Achim South District, Joaso District Hospital. I was there for 2 years, working and schooling until I graduated in 2004 and went up north for my national service. In fact, whilst in school, I aspired to reach the top. That's what I would say. Whilst in KNUST, the dream was to get to the top, to become a professor in my discipline. So once I finished the first degree, I never stopped. I proceeded to graduate school, did my PhD, and I was working at the same time. So whilst in Tamale Teaching Hospital, I was shuffling between Kumasi and Tamale every now and then for my graduate training. And so along the way, I had to seek transfer to Ashanti region again, so that I'll be close to KNUST where I did my PhD. So in 2011, November, I graduated and I left the Ghana Health Service and joined UCC in February 2012. So that's where I've been since.
All right, thank you very much. So from the introductory session, you entered this profession by chance.
Yes.
Have you seen it as God's purpose for you? And if so, why do you think it's God who brought you into this profession?
Well, I remember those days I was a secretary of Full Gospel Businessmen Tamale chapter. They once asked me to give a testimony, and so just as I'm talking now, and I told them that I quoted a scripture, I think Proverbs 3 verse 6 or so, which says that we desire where to go, but it is God who will rather determine where we'll go. So to me, I wanted to be a lawyer, but God desired me to become a professor of chemical pathology. And it took me through the path that will let me reach there. And so I will ascribe all whatever I've achieved to the directions of God, and I think hard work and sacrifice.
All right. So at this point, we want to see your face. A lot of people don't know you, and it is good that we see how handsome you are.
Humble feet.
Maybe we may want to give you a second one if you agree. So this is your face. You are handsome. Thank you. And even at the time that you became a professor, I was surprised that you still went back to school. Is it that you like book too much?
Oh no, not necessarily. In our sphere, I'm more or less a public health researcher. I do kidney disease research and diabetes research. And in trying to seek funding and collaborate, you are in a better position if you have some background knowledge in public health. So I decided to get a Master of Public Health degree from GIMPA to more like enrich my CV and also put me in a better state to be able to get good collaboration and also attract funding to conduct my research. So that was the reason.
Okay. The chairman of Melpu says I should tell you that he greet you fin.
He was, we work in Tamale together. He came to Tamale when I was the head of the hematology lab, and I think he's a Frafra man, and fin was a common thing he was saying. So anytime he sees me, he says he's greeting me fin, and I also respond fin.
All right, so he's smiling here, and yes. He says that you are not telling the truth. He is not the one who says the thing. The thing might be coming from you, so maybe you have to research about it.
No, when he is speaking, when the Frafrais are speaking, anything they add thing, and it excited me. So anytime I see him, I say, I'm greeting you, Fee, then he will respond.
It's your busy nature, you still have time to have some sense of humor. That is nice. I think it will keep you going so that when you're in 5 years, we'll still see you young as you are. Now, from your CV, we realized that you, from BSc, you moved to a PhD, and within a short time, you also became an associate professor. Could you ascribe it only to the purpose of God, or what are some of the tricks?
Like I mentioned, I said I will ascribe it to the grace of God, and then my watch words: hard work, sacrifice, discipline, determination. And I often tell my students that I don't complain. When you greet me, you ask me how am I doing, I'll tell you I can't complain. So hard work, dedication, discipline, determination, sacrifice, on the path to achieving or to getting to where I am now, I have to make a lot of sacrifices. I have to sacrifice a lot. So sacrifice is very vital. Hard work, dedication. Those were the key things that I had to arm myself with, to get to where I am. I don't think if the grace of God was the only thing, I don't think I'll be here. But with God's grace, I was able to find the strength to sacrifice or make a lot of sacrifices. Because like I said, I was shuffling between Tamale and Kumasi like I was joking. Sometimes I'll leave Tamale to Kumasi for a seminar. I'll get to Kumasi around 2 a.m., sit at the OA station till morning, get wherever I'm staying, present at 2, finish at 5, get to OA in the evening, and get to Tamale at 2 a.m. In the morning, I'll go to work. So the determination was there, the zeal was there, the passion to achieve my life ambitions was there. And that's where the grace of God, I met the grace of God, and I think I have risen to this heights.
So the banner over you is always alive. I've also been part of Full Gospel, and yeah, it has had a lot of impact on me. And now we'll go around your professional life before academia. Then we'll go back to academia, and I will invite my colleague at a point. Now, we realize that you served on many committees of the association and even served as a regional chairman for Ashanti region sometime. What motivated you to be involved in the professional business of GAMS?
A point of correction, I served as the chairman of the Central region. I think once a professional, always a professional. As they say, once a soldier, always a soldier. I rose through the ranks. I had passion, even as I said, even though I came in accidentally. But once I entered, I realized that it is something that I have love for. I have love for lab work. If you have love for, or you have passion for the lab work, you always see yourself as a laboratory professional. So in the Central region, I work in the Ashanti region, if I should say, on 2 occasions, 2001 to 2004. 2001 to 2004. Then 2009 to 2012. Throughout the whole period, I was active in GAMS activities. So when the opportunity came to serve GAMS in the Central region as the chair, I availed myself. And I think I built a great team with my vice, and we were able to achieve a lot of laurels for the region.
All right, so within your tenure, what were some of the things that you can share with us as the gains and the challenges you faced?
I think we had the first CPD program in the region. It was tough, very tough. Back then, I think Mr. Ayiku was the CPD coordinator, and it wasn't easy getting to run a CPD program. So we ran, if you remember, I think in 2018 January, we had this CPD that the council went to every region, to do this more like a workshop general for all allied health professionals. So myself and my vice, Mr. Amwa, we, with our executives, we organized one, and I think Dr. Bowini and his guys, and I don't remember seeing the registrar then, but they all came and we organized the program. It was later that we have to send the names to the council to give people points, because then it wasn't easy even getting the names to send it to the council before organizing the program. So we organized the programs and later send the list, and then got CPD points for members. The other challenge, and I still think it's a challenge, then was apathy. We have a lot of apathy amongst professionals. I don't know why, but apathy, there was a lot of apathy. You call for meetings, you get few people coming, and they have a lot of complaints. Morale oftentimes is low. So those were some of the things. But have been busy of late. I think from 2020, administrative positions here and there. So I either facilitate CPD programs or I'm not engaged in GAMS activities. Yeah, that's what I would say.
We've seen that even though you are not very active in the professional business, you do publications looking at the challenges facing the profession and some of the things that can change in the profession. You are one of the few people whose research is in this area. We were able to have an opportunity to attend a conference in South Africa, Cape Town, and most of the professors from other universities, Makerere University and the rest, will do research looking at the challenges and how to improve the profession of medical laboratory science. What's your motivation, and how do you think that you can collaborate with the other colleagues or keep their interest into also researching into challenges and prospects for the medical laboratory scientists?
I think that's a quite lengthy question. If you can break it down for me, then I'll see how I'll address it.
All right, so just to say that I have seen you do some publications or leading publications about medical laboratory science practice, not direct bench research. I want to look at why you think that is important. Then we can continue.
So I'll say that I remember one we did I think we published it in last year. I don't remember the exact date, but I remember we published one last year on CPD. My understanding of CPD is that the professional body or the regulatory authority should dictate what people are trained on, but in our context, it's rather the professionals who want to be trained in certain areas. So we circulated some questionnaires, to want to know the CPD needs of med-lab professionals. And we actually got that suspicion, or if I should say, what we were actually looking for. So we got to find out that it is the professionals who rather wanted to be training this and that areas. But internationally, the regulatory body or the professional council should say that this year we want to train medical lab scientists or medical lab technicians for that matter, or medical lab consultants in maybe quality control or if I should say spermograms or something like that. I hope you are getting the point I'm making.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it's like we've turned the thing upside down, and it was a good finding. And I hope the association will take note of it, so that the association, the profession and regulatory authority should say that these are the weak areas we have identified. And for this year, we want the professional or the profession to organize training in these areas. For example, when I was with the Ghana Health Service, I remember USAID, either USAID or one other agency, organizing a workshop on procurement and storekeeping. Storekeeping for laboratory professionals. I think it was at Anita Hotel also. We went on 2 occasions. And I think we had another one at one other hotel. And I think they realized or they observed that this thing was lacking. And then they offered training on that. Okay, but the kind of CPD training we are organizing is virtually the same thing all the time. But I think the association and then they should be able to look out for areas they think is deficient. And then they give CPD points for those areas. So every day, or if there is something new that needs to be added to, what we are practicing or what we have been practicing, then that's where we can. But we always take ourselves through the same thing all the time. Today is hemogram, tomorrow is spermogram, the next day it is, how do you call it? CSF biochemistry. I don't think that is. And the findings of that study we did really proved that it is the professional rather who are detecting. But I think it is the association who should take charge. They should know where the gaps are. Then they can lead, the charge in that regard. So that was the reason for conducting that research. And I think another one was on bullying. I'm always on the ground with my students and those in school and those who have graduated. So I pick a few things from them and I try to bring it to life. So those are some of the things that motivate me.
I think you have to continue and you have to bring more of our colleagues in academia to partner with people in practice to unearth some of these areas. And I think your research also was helpful in we deciding the sort of CPD camps organized for members for free this year, because we realized that the world it is projected that by 2030, antimicrobial resistance will be a problem. Mm-hmm. However, in Ghana, testing is a challenge. And to affirm your reasoning, there was a Fleming project that looked at the state of testing in Ghana, and we realized that it was poor. So we are trying to implement some of your findings, and we are expecting more from you in that regard. So at this point, I will invite my colleague Bernard to continue. Bernard. All right, so before Bernard comes in, now, how have you been able to instill some of the qualities you mentioned about? You said you are a determined person, you are focused, you are a smart personality who has a vision. How have you instilled some of these values and abilities in your students? Do you think that your students are receptive to these abilities and skills?
I'll say yes, because I have a few of my students joining me, especially in my faculty in Cape Coast. Others are with other universities. And when I joined UCC in 2012, I decided to do something that a professor in Kenya University did. Our last lecture before we left Kenya University, I think in 2004. he challenged us that we should set targets for ourselves, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or no, he said a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So I think I did that for myself. I did that, and 7 years after my first degree, I got 6 years. I got PhD and joined UCC. So usually my last lecture, I talk to the students. I challenge them, to see things differently, think outside the box, know where they are going, know the sacrifices to take for them to get there, have a vision for their lives. So a few have been able to achieve, and I know quite a number of them also are on track to achieving their life goals. I tell them that it's not that you should be like me, but whatever vision you have, whatever dream you have, dig deep and look for the energy, to achieve that dream. So for me, I share with my students, those who pass through my hands, they will tell you, I'm very passionate about everything I do. I don't take complaints. If you are close to me and you complain, you're often complaining about the negatives. I don't think you stay in my circle for long. I'm a very positive-minded person who believes that nothing is impossible. So long as you have the mindset for it, you can achieve it. Even if you try and you don't achieve, you have achieved something because you tried. So that is the kind of passion and fire that I have. And my students are getting.
Okay, so now this is the second time we are hearing about positive-mindedness. We had before you Professor Opintan, and he also mentioned that to be a researcher, you should be positive-minded. So I think this is one great skill that we have to learn as professionals. Now, we realize that the apathy issue has not ended with our participation and involvement in professional body issues. But professional body in general is an important aspect of everybody's professional life. What are some of the reasons you can ascribe to this apathy? And do you think that it is something that you can research on if you don't have immediate solutions?
If you give me funds, I'll do that research for you. That's just by the way. But I think it's an age-long thing. In Kolebu, when we were in Kolebu in the mid-late 90s, I would say it was due to segregation. Those days you have these technologies, and then you have the technicians, and there was that gap, And then the degree came on board, and now I can say most of us have degrees. The apathy is better now. I like the energy. I really admire the energy and the drive and the desire of the current crop during your last strike. I've been a regional chairman before, and I think in 2017 we had to go on one strike, and I know what it takes to organize guys to go on strike. So I'll say it's getting better, and it will get better. Those of us in academia, we should do our part. And then the professional body should also try to boost the morale of colleagues. We should try hard to boost their morals. There are a few who come in accidentally, maybe they want to go something else, and then you leave along the way. But if they come in and then they realize that this is an area that is also viable, and then they get their morale to be boosted by the leadership of the profession, I think they will stay and make sacrifices to the cause of the profession. So I will put the friends in the ball. I'll place the ball at the court or at the doorstep of the professional body. You have to do a lot. Recently, I've observed that you are giving T-shirts and a few paraphernalia, which is quite encouraging. And as an educator, you should. Recently, you came and then I think you sponsored one award on campus. It really raised a lot of awareness and energized the students. So it is something that should continue in the training institutions, and then it will raise the desire. It will raise the desire because it starts from the training institution. If they know that they are entering a profession that will secure them a future, a profession that has the recognition, I think they will be passionate, they will be dedicated to the cause of the profession. It is everywhere. As for the how do you call it, apathy, you find it in pockets in other professions. Just that in our case, it used to be so high, but I think it is getting better, and the association should work hard at it to get people to rise up to the cause of the profession, and we will definitely achieve whatever we desire for ourselves.
All right, so you are a smart professor. You realize that the previous GAMS constitution had some level of segregation of membership, affiliate, associates, and the rest. But to provide solution to some of these things, if you see the new constitution, everybody is a member.
Yeah.
And it's a way of also trying to close down that gap and let everybody know that you belong. And so leadership from past to present is trying to listen to membership, because it's membership that funds the professional body.
Sure.
So we are grateful for these observations. And so maybe we have to write a grant together.
Oh, just give me the money. I think I'll do that for you. Give me the money. I'll try and buy so much apathy, or there's some apathy among colleagues.
The money will be plenty, so we can do other things for the professional body. So
Sure.
we'll come to you. So one of the things we've also realized is that some of the great minds like you and the others, when they developed themselves, they moved into academia. Academia is good, but how do you think we can bridge the gap so that even when you are in academia, you can still contribute to practice, as well as people practicing also contributing to academia? I've realized that in some fields, they've drawn their curriculum such that some portions of teaching is done by people in academia, some is done by people on the bench. How do you think we can overcome some of these things?
I think it's possible. We can overcome it. I am jotting down some point. I think the college, we have the college. We are training consultants or fellows to become consultants, specialist consultants. So those fellows or consultants, if they find themselves in the hospital, if they are in the hospitals, they can help with teaching, and those of us who are fellows and in an academia, we can also work in the hospital. Then there will be some form of knowledge transfer here or there, as we see in the medics. So I didn't leave. Like I said, it was a passion to be a professor when I was growing up in Manprovi. So when I entered medical lab in KNUST, I saw the path and I took it, and I came to where I am. Now there is no opportunity for us to get to the hospital, but I'm told with the current scheme of service we have, those in academia will have to go in the hospital to work as consultants and then help with clinical training. For now, we leave the clinical training to preceptors on the bench. But if we have this kind of arrangement where I'm in the classroom, I'm a consultant, when I go to work in the hospital and train students, there'll be some remuneration for me. I think it will go a long way to help us. So again, the ball is in the court of the professional body and then the labor union to do that for colleagues in academia and for those who join later. That is what I would say.
The board here, I would throw some of them to you. So I've gotten the second idea. We will have to do a position paper to the authorities especially Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health, as to how we can do this. It has been done for other professions, and we can learn from them and also have it done for our people or for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so with your 25 years of medical laboratory practice, you were one of the few people as a head of department when you, so this is just to say that your department is trying to come out with a master's program in transfusion. And over the years, we've realized that academia would just put up programs, now be struggling to get attention from practice for people to come and do the program. You were one of the few people who led a meeting for the university to also engage the professional body and other stakeholders. How has this been, and what is the state of that program?
Thank you. I would say I will ascribe that to teamwork and then the contributions of my colleagues, Dr. Edu and Dr. Bachi and the rest. They brought a suggestion, because I'm a thoroughbred. I call myself a thoroughbred medical laboratory person. I quickly realized that no, some of my colleagues are on the National Blood Council or Service Board. So in the university, we are supposed to engage the stakeholders before we start program. So I think I called you and I called Ignatius or Dr. Bouni, and we quickly arranged our meeting. And we had to write to the National Blood Service, which we have done, but we are yet to hear from them. But we are definitely processing the documents through the channels or through the system in the university. And we are hopeful that in a year or two, I won't say a year because it will definitely take more than a year to get it approved. So maybe 2 years or more, at least 2 years, we should start. But I'm expecting the association to help us get a response from the National Blood Service because we want them to partner us in training medical lab professionals in, to attain the highest skills in blood transfusion science. So again, you say I'm coming back to you again. We've written to them and we are yet to hear from. I think it's about 3 weeks or a month now. We are still waiting to hear from the council, but at least we've engaged we've engaged the service, and we are waiting to hear from them before we roll the program. But we'll still push the document through the channels, desirous to get it approved.
Okay, so members should be preparing as soon as University of Cape Coast mounts this program. Let's patronize it so that they'll be encouraged to develop other aspects of the profession. There are fields of our profession that are less practiced, cytology, histopathology, and the rest, so that they will be motivated to mount programs in those areas. And so at this point, Bernard is facing some challenges. So we'll try to open the avenue for ourselves to engage our professor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So colleagues and senior colleagues, you have the opportunity to ask the questions you have written down over this to the professor. He's smart enough to answer every question. As of now, he has not been able to fumble answering any questions. So as many questions you have for him, just raise your hand. Okay, Prof, before the others come in, there's a comment that GAM should take a conscious effort to keep their members. Now, we are trying to bring them back, especially those in academia and in the diaspora. Give them the dedicated grants for special projects. This way, we'll keep these great minds while we wait for proper system to advocacy. He is with you. I'm talking about the one wants to publish more papers. Evans, we've listened to you. We'll see what we can do about
Evans,
it. But
Evans was my teaching assistant, and I've been doing most of the work.
also throwing it back to you. That
Oh, hello, GS. Hello, GS. Hello.
Prof, I can hear you.
So I'm saying that
Prof, sorry for that.
Evans was one of my students. I think he left UCC in 2014, and we are still in contact. We have been doing a lot of work. Soon one will come out still on medical lab practice. So he knows what he's saying. He knows what he's saying. So regards to him wherever he is, we still work. We still do a lot. We are still doing a lot of work together. So he was a student, a project student, a teaching assistant, and we are still in touch. We are still doing a lot of work together.
Okay, thank you. So colleagues and senior colleagues, as already mentioned, the floor is open. You can ask your questions if you have any. Thank you.
Meanwhile, if there is something I want to say, I don't know what time I'll be allowed to say it.
Oh, you can say it now.
Okay, so it is something again I'm throwing to the association to see what they can do about it. You have non-science students going to read medical lab, especially in the private institutions. So they read the medical lab certificate, they get the diploma, and then they come to the university for degree. For the university, if you are coming there for degree, the entry requirement is either SSC or secondary school certificate or a diploma. So if you are coming with a diploma, we don't consider your SS background. We have made that observation for quite some time now. It is something we have been battling, but the thing is, the policy of the GTech, if you come with a diploma, we are not to look at your secondary school background. And we have a lot of people coming in with arts, business, visual arts, and the likes. Once they come and they are pinned and they are practicing medical laboratory professionals, we cannot turn them down. So I will urge, once again, the association to look at it. If together with the regulatory body, or they can go to GTech and then insist that anybody who reads or who desires or inspires to read medical lab must be a science student. It will help. But it seems the current posture is that we, those in universities, should turn down those who are coming with diploma because they do not read science or they did not read science. We are scared of court suits. We don't want to be sued because they are qualified per the policies of GTech. If the individual has a diploma in medical lab, to the extent that he's pinned by the council. Who are we to say we are not going to train the person? So I think it should start from the association and the council and the GTEC. If these three bodies come together and say that any person going to a private institution or a public institution or whatever institution to read medical lab should be of or from a science background, then when the person comes, that is it. We'll make progress from there. But in the current situation, there is nothing we can do. I've been getting calls, but there's nothing we can do. Per the document we have, per the policy of GTEC, we take those, when we take those with diploma, we don't look the ISL background. We don't look at it.
Prof, we have started work with this. The regulator has assured us that they are completing their indexing mechanisms somewhere this June, so that it can regulate both the public and private investors. So we'll still continue to put pressure on the regulator to do this. We have actually written to GTEC, NAPTES, to look at these things, and also the fact that now getting accreditation for med-lab programs without consulting even the interest of the professional body is becoming a problem. So we are minded about this. And so I will invite Samuel Jemfi. You can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. Prof has been a blessing to some of us. Actually, he taught me and he's still teaching me. But my question is that, Prof, when you were making mention of your academic profile, you made mention to the fact that you completed KNUST with your PhD. And I don't know, my question is that, like, what motivated you to do your PhD in Ghana? And this is to the reason that currently most of us don't want to have our PhDs and masters in Ghana because of greener pastures. So what are some of the things that you think the association should put in place that will entice some of us to stay within the country and proceed to higher levels in terms of academia? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Samuel. I will say two things, maybe say more. I will say that it is you. It depends on you. After first degree, the circle of friends I worked with, Professor Nephew, Professor Biren Kram, Professor Samuel Sechi, Professor Essien, Dr. Abbas, Theo and the likes. We had a vision. The vision was to get into academia, So I had a vision to become a professor even at a tender age. And that led me to align myself to people who had similar aspirations. And we were fortunate to be mentored by the late Dr. Redu, who I remember would tell us that it doesn't matter where you do your postgraduate studies. The most important thing is how you prove yourself. I remember the so rest is in peace. He's been there. I think we'll be very next week Saturday or so. I remember very well. Anytime we meet him, he will tell us that it doesn't matter where you did even if you do it in your mother's kitchen or your father's backyard, you have to prove yourself once you are given the opportunity to practice as an academic. So what I would say is, again, it depends on you. If you are 23, 24, 25, and you want to do it outside, and you have been waiting for the last 5 years to get an opportunity to go, and you've not gotten the opportunity, it means you are 30. Some will stay, but at least start something. If you start and you are able to get at least masters, and you can get somewhere, you can proceed and do your PhD. But the experience from academia, in academia, they will not ask you where you got your PhD. You have a PhD, what do you have to show as a researcher and as an academic? The currency is your research work and your service to the university community. It doesn't matter where you got your PhD or whatever. What you can do with it is what matters. That is what I'll tell you.
Thank you. Lawrence, dear.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for giving us this nice presentation. Prof, there are some few things bothering me. I wanted to know, with the program that currently UCC wants to introduce, if you are going to collaborate with the college in terms of the double certification. And there is one thing to that I've realized that is in Ghana we are lacking. That is our molecular side. And we know now the system is turning more into molecular base. So is there any plans to train people, like get more molecular training for medical scientists and technicians? Is there any other training that is going on, like some forms of talks going behind the scenes to set up some of these labs to train more people who take the next challenge in terms of the molecular aspect of our profession?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lawrence. I say that Lawrence is a very good friend who has left me alone in Kumasi, Malo in Europe. You know, he's enjoying the fine weather in Europe. But he used to be a very close friend who I spend a lot of time with in Kumasi anytime I go on the weekend. But that's just by the way. Our program, yes, we'll be starting in earnest, I think from August, or from next academic year. The next academic year starts in October, I think October 12. So we are selling forms. So those who are interested can get in touch, or they should just check my DP. They will see the flyer. Then they can download the application forms and apply. Our doors are open. We are ready to collaborate with the college for the double certification part. They are yet to come here. We have not seen them. In fact, the program was just approved in December last year, you know. So once the college comes, we will sit, we will talk. And I think UCC is a forward-looking institution. And we are ready to collaborate. On the molecular part, we have a lot of molecular scientists in the department. So, and in the program document for our postgraduate training, there's a lot of molecular, aspects. We have a lot of molecular aspects in it. So we have seen the challenge, and we definitely have equipped our students who pass through so that they can be able to fit into the modern time practice in medical laboratory science. And again, we are also looking at, as you see the program in medical laboratory diagnostics. There is an aspect where we'll be training our graduates in kit design, you know, and stuff like that. And so we are ready to equip the new generation with the skills they need to push the profession forward. Thank you.
I think UCC has a lot of vision. We have to change the name of the university to University for Vision. Unfortunately, I think you were a university that was formed to teach teachers, but you are becoming a university for vision. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Matthew.
Yeah, good evening, Prof.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, I'm a student of UCC Sandwich Program, Medical Laboratory Science, currently.
All right.
My question is, does the association know that people who doesn't have license and did other programs like the molecular diagnostic, biochemistry are sneaking, if I may use that word, to get license from allied health without writing any exams? I have colleagues on the bench here who has paid some amount of money for the council to give them license. I don't know if the association has any idea about this.
Well, I think Dr. Kwashi will be in the best position to answer this question. But I also say that we received sandwich application forms recently, and a lot of these molecular and cell biologists have applied. So they are doing well to go through the right channels to be licensed, but definitely you expect a few people to go through the back door. So we expect again the professional body to hold the council to task, because there is no council without the professionals. So you should be able to hold them to task. Otherwise, they'll be diluting all the gains we have made over the past 12 years. So the ball is in the court of the association.
Just to assure Matthew that we are ready to take up any of these issues, kindly contact us behind the scene, give us evidence. The challenge is that sometimes we hear this, we are not able to get the necessary evidence to approach the council that you are doing this. So it becomes mere allegations. And there's a saying that he who alleges must prove. When you have a proof, you have power to call the person to order. So contact us behind the scene. I will share my number and we'll talk, and I will pray that you are able to give us evidence. We are not just going to approach the council, we are going to approach the Minister of Health and other important personalities in this country to tell them that the council, if it is true, the council is not living up to the standard. So we have taken notice of this information, but we want you to help us with much information. Thank you.
Okay. Then I may need your number, please.
All right. So I will leave my number in the chat for you to get back to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Bernard, you are back now. Bernard, are you with us? Okay, so Ali.
Yeah.
Please go ahead with your question.
Thank you for the opportunity. Mine is a plea. I want to plead with the council, especially about the thing renewal. You go through the process, get the CPD points, pay the money at the bank. The renewal is my program. If you learn like how the national health insurance is done, and you can just dial the numbers and renew your PIN. There's the NHIS, you just dial those numbers that they are giving, and your card will be renewed. If you can learn going forward, like how the NHIS is done, so that we can also renew our things. Those of us in the remote area, don't go through the stress of traveling to a places where there's no bank, where, in fact, you go through a lot, be able to renew just the thing. But if there's something like digital or electronic, you can just do it online, pay the money there after you have gotten your CPD points. Then your thing will also be renewed. I think that is my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well noted. Would follow. So some nice messages about Prof. They say excellent presentation by Prof. So, Prof, there's a question here that is trying to ask. It said, when you were going through your quest to achieve your dream, what were some of the setbacks that you faced, and how were you able to overcome them? And the same person is trying to find out, how did you go about setting your dreams or your goals, and that brought you closer to achieving these dreams?
Thank you. I would say that again, at some point in the service, when I was first working at Santiago South Hospital, Yaso. Yaso is dear to my heart because that's where I met my wife. So I had to be converted to a casual worker because I was deemed to have vacated service, but they still needed my service, or to have vacated post, but they still needed my service. So they were paying me on as and when basis. It was quite daunting, but the goal, I had a vision. My vision was to get my first degree and proceed. So when school is on break, I go to UASO, work, and be paid as a casual. So when I'm in school, I don't get anything because they struck my name off the payroll, you know. But those were, I considered them as minor setbacks because the target was to achieve something more, if I should say, something that would put me in a higher state than just being in the lab, you know, because I had a vision. And on the way to achieving the vision, I encountered this, but I did not allow it to tie me down. So I continued like that for, I think, from 2001 October till latter part of 2003. And I graduated in 2004. So it only went on to strengthen me to move on, you know. But it never set me down. I never for once got discouraged because, like I said, for me, once you are discouraged, you slow down. Once you have the passion to achieve something, nothing should tie you down. Go for it. With self-belief, if you have the self-belief, energy, if it is exams that you feel, there is an opportunity to write it again. So when you fail, just prepare for the receipt. Write, pass, and move on. Don't be tied down. So I wasn't tied down by my name being struck from the payroll. I negotiated with the management because the one who was posted there when I went to school came and left. So they came and called me that I should come and work again. I told them they should reinstate me. They said they cannot. I said, okay, then they should pay me the salary of a technician as a casual. And they did because they needed somebody. So I was working as a casual and getting ADH, you know. That was when the ADH came and they are sharing, they gave me some. And I stayed there for 2 years until I finished my degree and found myself somewhere. So it's like I say, it's up to you. Setbacks are part of life. They should not tie you down. They should rather energize you to desire to work harder to achieve your targets. Thank you. The other question, if you can repeat it.
All right, so the other question is about, how did you go about setting your dreams so that you can achieve them within a record time?
I'll try and answer this question. You have a dream. It's your dream. You know your dream. You know where you want to go. I tell my colleagues that if I'm going to Accra, my target this morning, I was telling one of my colleagues that if I'm going to Accra, my target is to go to Accra. If I'll pass under the sea, I'll fly in the air, I'll swim in the drains from Cape Coast to Accra. The bottom line is that I'm in Accra. So if I have a vision and I have a dream, anything that I'll do to achieve the dream, I'll do it. If it does not infringe on any law, so long as it does not infringe on any law, I'll do it to achieve my dream. So to achieve in this world, you have to be unyielding. You have to be unyielding. You have to be tough-minded. You don't need muscles, but you need a tough mind. You know, you need that strong mental will to want to. You may be people who try and bring all sorts of things on your way, but that is where the focus comes in. Be focused. See the target even before you start, and desire, you know, to get at it. So that is what I would say.
So I think it's true. One of my mentors, Professor Andrew Anthony Eje, will tell you that if you don't have a vision, you will perish. So in order not to perish, always have a vision. I think this is a good lesson to all of us. Let's write our visions down. It is not always good to have your vision in your head. Sometimes when you write it and you look at it, whatever the mind perceives, whatever the mind looks continuously, the mind will work towards achieving it. And that is a good thing. And so that somebody is trying to find out, Dr. Ya Nyakun Adai, she's saying that she realized that University of Cape Coast has a program, biomedical science. How different is that program for medical laboratory science? And how come that the university has not been able to overcome this challenge of mounting these two conflicting programs, creating problems for the profession in Ghana? Whilst it's not a problem for Ghana as such, these people should find themselves in the right area, but they come trying to encroach into medical laboratory science. How has the university been handling this?
Well, I think as a vice dean, we are in the same school. The MedLab is in the same school with the Department of Biological Science. Their vision and mission is entirely different from ours. But it is their graduates who try, you know, to stray into our zone. They are more or less training middle level scientists, or they are training graduates who branch into the various science disciplines. So they are training graduates who will go and specialize in anatomy, physiology, epidemiology, toxicology, pharmacology, pharmacognosy, etc. But they've managed to find themselves. And I think the association to this whole thing started, I think, during President Amuzu's time. I think we alerted them and they moved. They moved with speed, and the council too was able to tell them they are not going to license their graduates. And ever since, they are keeping to their lane, you know. So we have Department of Biomedical Science, but they are training biomedical scientists who are not licensed to work in the hospital. So people have been calling me that somebody is in my lab with and it's a biomedical lab. I said, no, those who come to your place should be reading medical laboratory science. It is the only program in UCC that has been licensed by the council and recognized by GTEC to train medical laboratory scientists. We have another program, I think it's laboratory technology. The focus for that one too is different. That one is training laboratory technicians or technologists to man secondary school labs, you know, agro-industry labs, and other industrial labs, you know. So sometimes I tell the applicants to research before buying the forms. You know. So it's a nomenclature the university is using, so it's up to us to, you know, work at it. But it is something we have been managing for the past 10 years. It used to be called human biology, and then for a reason I don't know, it was changed to biomedical science. And the association did well and was able to bring it under control. So for now, when they are done, those who want to practice medical lab, they apply, they do 2 years top up, and they get a degree. So that is it. Thank you.
All right. The same person is asking the question that the past week, the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union was on strike. And so we had heard of nurses and other professionals trying to encroach into the lab and work. Is it that we have conducted ourselves in a way people have seen our profession cheap, just to encroach Where is this coming from?
I think this question I cannot answer. I work in the health service for, I think, 11 or 12 years. And my laboratory was a no-go area for non-medical lab professionals. It was a no. I'm very jovial. When you come, I'll joke, I'll play with you, but no. My laboratory was a no-go area for non-medical lab professionals. So I remember when they used to bring we used to call them Zoom nurses and those people. They used to bring them to the lab. We have to write or confer with the coordinator to dedicate those who want to be laboratory personnel to us. We don't want them to rotate, but they maintain the rotation. When they come to the lab, they were cleaning, giving results out, or maybe taking requests from patients until they dedicated some to us. And I can tell you, last week, one of them called me. He has gone through the mill and he has a diploma now. So it behoves on us to know our worth and insist. To be fair, if they bring a nurse that I will not. We have to be fair. That is where we get our daily bread. So we have to guard it jealously. We have to guard it with all our life, with all our energies. That's where we get our daily bread. Unless we don't like it. But if we do, then we have to be firm. We have to insist. And once you insist, nobody can tell you, I'm bringing a nurse, and if you don't take the nurse, exactly. No. A nurse is supposed to work on the ward, not in the lab. So again,
Right, so I think one of the take homes we are taking away from this presentation or this interview is that the lab profession is what brings food on your table. So you have to guard it with all your blood, with all your energy, and with all your conscience. So those of us who will create problems, accept people who are not supposed to be in the lab, train them, give them opportunity. Then you come and call leadership, especially when we are on strike looking for opportunities for ourselves. Then you will be calling leadership, come and sack the people. It is a good call for us to say that we are putting a stop to this. And those of us who are training people in schools and the schools are not accredited, and we are contributing to the training of these people, we are creating a problem for the profession. At this age, we should be running fast and creating new opportunities. We should desist from creating new problems for the profession. There's a question about when your university is going to start MLSD, but just to say that your university, let me answer this for Prof. Prof, they've started the process. They are trying to consult MAPU and GAMS, the Ministry of Health and the rest, to mount this program. So very soon, with the support of the stakeholders, UCC will start MLSD program by the grace of God. And this is not just by chance. GAMS has worked with the regulator that the next accreditation for most of the schools, without MLSD, you will not be re-accredited, giving accreditation to run BSc. So the university is already doing that.
Dr. Kwashi, I'll add that the policy of UCC is that before you start any program, you have to engage all the stakeholders. So we officially, I wrote to GAMS, the council, the Ministry of Health, I think MEL, because we need to get certain things straightened out before we start. Because once you start pushing a program through the system, certain questions will be asked. And I think the answers will best come from our stakeholders. So we've started engaging them, and we are waiting for their responses. So I'm happy Dr. Kwashi mentioned it. So I hope we hear from them soon, whilst we process the document through the channels in the university. Thank you.
Thank you. There's a comment here. They said, this is, Prof, this is one of a kind. What are his proudest wins over the years? So someone want to look at what were your wins over the years that you can be proud of and share with us.
Wins. I don't know. I don't have anything I would say was my proudest win, because even on the day that I defended my PhD, I saw it as an ordinary day, you know. But what excites me mostly is when I get a paper published. For that, I get excited because it means I'm growing as a scientist. So anytime I get a paper published, I'm excited. I'm energized to try again. And again, when I see my students, some of them, you know, making gains, you know, achieving higher heights, it's exciting. Especially the ones with few challenges, and you go closer to them, you pep them up, and then you see them making waves. It's quite exciting. You think you are doing something good for humanity. That's what I would say.
Prof, Felix is saying that he had the privilege of being one of your students around 2018 to 2022. And he says that what he realized about you is that you don't teach, you don't lecture, but you teach until the least person gets clear understanding. But the only thing they don't like about you is that the quizzes you give are too hard, and the quizzes were too difficult. I hope you are not giving your students the hard quizzes these days.
I don't know what he means by the quiz is hard, but I don't think you see in academia or in the university, UCC, I'm a very practical person, if I can say that. UCC will teach you how to set questions. And when we join the university, your questions will be, if I should say, moderated by a senior person. And the way I am, I wouldn't want anyone to find issues with my questions. So I'll make sure that I will set my questions. I prefer the questions to be okayed than for me to be made to, you know, this question is too cheap, it's too superficial, change it, that, and change that. So I'll make sure I set standard questions. And again, the face of education is changing. If you come to understand education and assessment, when you are setting questions for university students, you make sure that you are within the domains that you have been trained to, you know, fit into. So you set standard questions, you know. And so the students, I don't have, the students have their own way of approaching exams. And I'm practical enough to have that understanding. So when I'm setting questions, I consider all that. I consider a lot of things before I set my questions. I'm very modern. I'm looking at new ways of setting. So probably it's because mostly I'm ahead of them. That is why I'm mostly the students will not rest until they pass. If you are the type who go for questions online, or you always have a way of repeating your questions, then your students will not work. And the whole thing is to train the student, you know, find out if what you have taught the students is actually being able to grasp it. And I tell students that we are teaching them how to think. So when I give you a question, I'm giving you something that will challenge you to think, you know. But if we just get hold of questions that they can lay on the net and put it down, they will pass, they go out there, and then they'll kill us when we are old. So the intention is not to punish students, but the intention is to make sure that I am within the domains of what I've been trained to do. I am a moderator for the university. I go around moderating people's questions. So why should I set questions that don't meet the standard? If I'm enforcing standards, I have to start with myself. So that is what, and I'm quite passionate about that. You have to make sure that the proper questions are set. It seems to be properly.
Lawrence, come in, please.
Okay, Secretary, thank you. Secretary, somebody was alleging about non-medular people who are able to find their way through to get license. And I wanted to ask, is there any possibility that the association or the professional body can request, every year, Allah has, they release members in good standing with the profession, they release a list. Is there any way that the professional body can request for the basic requirement, profile of each licensed professional? Let's say the person have these certificates, because they request for all those things and you are required to upload all those certificates. So can you request for each of the profile for each member, each registered member? But I think with that auditing, we will be able to point out those who bought their licenses. And two, I want to thank Prof and UCC in general, because there is this general overview out there that during my practice, I realized people feel that graduates from UCC are hard enough. Let's say when it comes to things like this strike or anything concerning the profession, it seems the senior members in the system always talk about it, that students or professionals from UCC are very passionate about the profession. And whenever there is issue concerning the profession, the way they want to handle it, they want to handle everything with all their strength, especially this special, always going out for the profession, no matter where he finds himself, and other few colleagues. So, Prof, thank you, and extend this appreciation to all the members of the university community, especially Department of Medical Laboratory Science.
Come down and let's go to Ike's. I miss you.
Oh, Prof, very soon I'll be there.
Sure.
Christmas, we will go.
Sure.
Yes. So, Lawrence, we have listened to you. We will look at your suggestion and other suggestions. It's not that we are not aware of the problem. We have even written to the council with evidence to suggest to them that they are doing the wrong things, which has resulted in them removing or withdrawing licenses issued to people. We've had these issues, and anytime we get it with evidence, we ensure that the right things are done. We'll try and look at other means of getting this same thing sorted out. There's a new hand up.
Follow up on what I said. Right. I think if you get the evidence and you write to the council and they withdraw the license, I think that is not enough. That is the issue with Ghana. Mostly when we don't find the basis of the problem. Somebody is there issuing licenses, so we prosecute that person. I think this thing will never stop. So fine, we've gotten evidence of some few. What about those that we haven't gotten evidence yet? That means these people will continue to enter the system. So we find this prime suspect and prosecute that person. So I think, Secretary, when they withdraw the license, I think it will be in the best interest of the profession to also request how the person got the license, so the license holder must be brought to book, and the one who issued it must also be brought to book. And in some cases, we can even, I think it is possible for even the professional body to sue the council. Or we can even let somebody in the, not the professional body per se, but someone, we can channel this to an individual who will take the council on for doing these illegal things, so that there won't be any friction between the professional body and the regulators. We can use one person. And me, if you give me this opportunity, trust me, I will handle it very well. So it's okay. I think this one too must be.
You know, you can do that.
All right, Lawrence, thank you for the opportunity. We've had also very sensitive information from our men, and we are following up on some of them for the heads to roll. People who are betraying the trust Ghanaians have put in their hands to face the necessary action. We will update you, membership, when these informations come about. Benedict.
Yes, Secretary. Good evening, Secretary, and good evening, Prof. Thank you for your submission and then taking us through your journey in academia and then also professionally at the bench. My concern is in academia. Is it required that, Prof, every year we churn out medlab scientists, or we can, or the association or the university can sometimes intentionally allow certain courses to go into extension and then also mount other courses so as to create an enabling environment for, let's say, employment. Currently, we have about 6 to 5 batches of medlab scientists from various universities who are looking for employment. And I can tell you that there are other courses that have, or other areas that are also looking for maybe graduates to be employed. Can the university look at those areas for the, let's say, some courses to go into extension, and then let's say 5 years time, mount, or 2 years or 3 years time, mount those courses back, so as that will not create that backlog and then the resultant event will be on the government. That's one. The second question is on MLSD. I'm sure there has been good collaboration between the university and then the association and then the professional body. I want to know what made UCC to venture into that course, and then the job description that will be given out to MLSD students. Thank you, Prof.
Quite a lengthy question, but I think I'll start with the training part. I have to be brutally frank. University education is a business, and the leadership of the university want money to run the institution. And so if we see that there is a gap, maybe there's a program that you have a lot of people having interest in, then we also venture into that to train graduates into that area. So it behoves on the regulatory body and the professionals to ensure that they also play their watchdog or watchguard role to ensure that the field is not flooded. For the university, and especially for professional programs, if the professional body, the regulator says we should reduce our admissions, we will do that. But we will not say we are reducing our admissions because it is flooded. I don't think any wise, in quotes, businessman will do that. So long as the demand is there and I'm going to get my money, I'll train. So it behoves on the council and the professional body to come and tell us that UCC, this year, the quota I'm giving you is 20 students. If you take more than 20, I will not license them. We will sit up. That is what our colleagues in the others, I don't want to mention their name, on the other side, that's what they are doing. The nurses realized a gap, and now they are increasing enrollment. You see, because they realize there's a big gap. People are flooding out of the country. And so they are increasing enrollment. For us, I think this thing about students or graduates being at home has some political connotations. But I'm also of the view that, yes, we have so many schools training medical lab professionals, but it behoves on the council and then the professional body to work together. The council should be brutally frank with the professional, the professional body should be frank with the council and tell them that let the training institution reduce their intake. As a head, if they write to me, as a head and a passionate professional, if they write to me, it's easy. Because the university tells me to take 100 students. Who am I to challenge my paymaster? I hope you are getting me. But if I have something to stand on, to tell them that I will not take 100 students because when I take 100 students, they will not be licensed. They will say, okay, then do what is right. But for now, what grounds do you have that you are not taking 100 students or you are not taking 120 students? So I think, again, the professional body should try and let the council be and do. We give you 60, let's say 50. Get university 50, it's 50. But you come, university say stake because we want money to run the institution. Government subventions every quarter. How do we pay the staff? How do we run practicals? Government doesn't give us money for practicals. I think they only pay salary. The rest we have to create and train the students. So if I have the opportunity to take more, I'll do so. Every wise business. So Ben, that is where we are. The ball again is in the court of the council and the professional body. They are leading. You have to be in charge of curriculum, make sure that the curriculum, make sure that the number of students that is trained is controlled. But if you don't, nobody will do what. I think there is noise. Hello. The second one is from MLSD. MLSD and what will be their job specification? Again, what we can do as trainers, if I can say that, is that we will see a need to train and then we'll train. As to their job specification, we don't determine it. Again, it's a professional body who will determine their job specification. We are training. Then but we make sure that that's why the curriculum that we design. I'm coming. Please. Sorry. So, like I'm saying, it's up to the professional body and the council to do that. But for the training, that's why you see everybody, he has some facility, he has some room, 4 square room or chamber and then he starts a school. How we are getting? Everybody will start because they see that there is money there. But the regulatory authorities, the professional body should make sure that they are up to task and they are training them appropriately and that they will not flood the system. So their bargaining power will be good. But if that thing is not there, then I don't see where we are going. That is what I will say then.
So MLSD is going to, or it's not that it's going to, MLSD has come to take the role of the BSc program. this is not a question of what is the role. What is the current role of BSc program or BSc graduate? What the question you should be asking is, how do we, as Prof is saying, how do we improve curriculum? How do we ensure that the scheme of service, the professional body and the union is writing with the stakeholders is done in a way that these people are given the right positioning in practice. So it is not a question of what is the role of MLSD or what are they coming to do. There's a role for the graduates, and we should prepare our mind that it is not something that is being done only in Ghana. This is a WAHU approved curriculum to ensure that there's harmonization of training and practice within the South region. So we should try and research about this and contribute to the impact these professionals are to make when they graduate from school. Thank you. Mr. Kojo Amponsa.
Yeah, hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Desmond. Lawrence, thanks for your kind words. I'm really grateful. Doc, my question is, yesterday there was kind of a debate on a Melter alumni platform where someone raised an issue about the sandwich program and then the time frame it takes for graduates to be channeled into the system. He was raising an issue of, because the time is in his view short, it may compromise on the quality of education and the quality of graduate that we churn out. Can you speak to that? Because it was a bit of a banter and people have diverse views. So if you being at the MFS, can you speak to it about so that how quality will not be compromised? And then if you could speak to it briefly. Thank you.
Okay, so I would say that we stand for quality. That is one of our avowed aims, to ensure that we provide quality education to our students. But where are we coming from? Sandwich used to be 4 years, so in actual fact, 3 calendar years, but they come to campus 4 times. So you do a sandwich semester in a year. And then we realized that, again, we were losing the market because others were doing it 3 semesters in 2 years or 4 semesters in 2 years. So we have to adjust. So we are still giving them 4 semesters in 2 years. But you bear with me that now, education, training, and because of technology, we have many ways of doing things. As the former NDC chairman said, there are many ways of killing a cat. So we have an online component where students are taken through, and then they come on campus for the face-to-face practicals and then exams. So we do the sandwich in 2 years, but we ensure that the curriculum, the 4-semester curriculum, is exhausted. So you can ask those who have gone through, and they will tell you that we take them through the 4-semester program in 2 years. We blend the online components and then the face-to-face part. So I don't think we are, from where I'm sitting, I don't think I will compromise quality. No, never. We will ensure and insist that the education we give to our students is quality. The standard is at the same level as what we give to the regular graduates or students. So be rest assured, we are not compromising quality. We will not compromise quality, and we will give our students the best of quality training. Thank you.
Senior Andrew Hooper.
Yes, Brad Solomon, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Prof, it's a long time, 1999, 2000. That was when I was coming into lab tech. And he's such a nice man to meet. I'm coming to Cape Coast. I'll definitely meet you one of these days. Anyway, I wanted to ask, our profession is a practical thing. Unfortunately, the young ones coming up, it seems all they know is the theory aspect. And by the time he has finished, he has the certificate. He comes to the lab. Even taking blood sample is a problem. And then our other colleagues will take advantage over it and say, well, you can train anybody to be in the lab. So I want to please encourage, if I can, that can the curriculums, the way we used to do it in lab tech, can it be infused? Because I was affiliated in my second and third year in Ada, I think, and I'm sure you also went in one of the labs. That's where you are affiliated. And if you don't go, you can imagine what will happen. You are failed. You are repeated straight away. So can the old system where almost 70%, 80% of your practical, that is your exams. So that the theory aspect, I don't know, now it has turned around. So I don't know what your opinion is, please.
Yes, I would say that I called myself a thoroughbred laboratory professional. I train in Kolebu, I train in Konfanochi. And the backbone of our training in Kolebu was we spent 2 years rotating through the labs, and we sat in the classroom for 1.5 years. So you realize that you spend more time on the bench than in the classroom. In KUST, we spent 2 years in the class, on the bench, and 4 years in the classroom. So at least, you know. And in UCC, we are doing same. But the problem is with the kids. So I think last week we met them. They are happy with the practical training, but they thought we should put more weight on it. And so for UCC, we are insisting. Meaning from where I'm sitting, you go, whether I like it or not. If you don't go, if you miss, I'll tell you, if you miss 1 day, you do 2 days. If you miss a week, you start the whole process again. You know, and once our graduates are flooding out, the international agencies want that graduates should do a minimum of 40 hours. So maybe GAMS can call a stakeholder meeting, all the training institutions. Then we come, I mentioned that. I remember one of our meetings, I met either Dr. Abu or one other person. I talk about having a uniform clinical training manual for us, you know, which the professional body will have a hand in. And so if you look at MDC, they are responsible for clinical training of the students. They have a hand in it. But over here, we have left it to the council. And the council, we are just a microcosm of the council. So our professional body should be seen as being in the forefront of ensuring standards. I am doing what I'm doing here because I'm a professional and a passionate one. So for me, you go. Whether you like it or not, you go. So here we ensure that half of the program is laboratory training on campus and in the hospitals. And you spend 4 years in the classroom as GTech standards demands. But I think the council, the professional body again, we need to sit all the stakeholders down and have a harmonized clinical training document. So it will be the same for all of us. UDS, KUST, UCC, UHAS, everybody. You see, so that if a graduate comes out and he is not trained, then you know that the problem is from wherever he is coming from. But if we leave it to the institutions, they may not have the right people at the helm of affairs. So I remember, I will not mention the facility. I went to check on the facility to see if we can send students there. They told me we bring the students for 2 weeks. They don't learn anything. So we should rather bring them at the end of the program so they do internship. I laughed and stepped out. Because I believe that if a student is spending 1 day, 8 hours in a week in a facility, it is better than the student not going at all. In KUST, we were going 6 hours in a day. We get there at 10, we close at 4. Nobody was chasing us, but you go. You see? So I think, again, the association should sit with the training institutions and come out with a harmonized clinical training schedule. That way, the institutions will be forced to. But we all have our training different. So it depends on who is at the helm of affairs. If the one at the helm of affairs is not a practical person or is not a passionate person, they will do the classroom work. If the students are not interested in the training, then it will just happen. But if it is something that the association, through the professional council, insists that this is the practical regimen or the clinical training regimen that should be used, and no institution will shy away from it. That one, no institution will shy away from it. So that is what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much. So I think we have to try as much as possible to try so that at least we can be able to.
Your suggestion, well noted. There has already been some discussions at the new level. We've looked at what the Kintampo's school is doing. There's some evidence that UDS is trying to implement SAFE. We have other professions also trying to implement a policy that when you are taught in the classroom, there should be evidence that you are taught the skills in the classroom, you are taught in the school's laboratory, and you also get that skill enhanced in the practical field. That is the practice area. So hopefully very soon, these documents will be further developed. Stakeholders will be consulted for implementation. So we'll get you posted on that. Thank you very much. Ali, are you coming back?
No, sir, please.
Kindly go ahead.
No, please. Please, I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right. And so there's a long question for you in the chat. The question says that may you live long, and we pray that you live long in the name of the Jesus you believe in. The person is trying to ask how we can enhance the market availability or market suitability of medical laboratories and scientists, and also make them get the good out of their tours in school and the many practical rotations. Thank you.
I don't know the answer to give for this. How we can enhance their marketability. I think I have a friend. We grew up together in Mamprobi. He's a lawyer, a marketer, a management consultant, and he contacted me for us to do a study on the marketability of allied health professionals and medical lab scientists for that matter. Frankly, I don't know. We are still on paper trying to come up with something to see how we can get data on that. Frankly, I don't know the answer to give you. But what is the second question? The second part of the question, if you can repeat that.
I think that the second part is trying to find out whether there's a regulation on the number of labs you can open as a professional. I think currently there are no limits as to the number of labs you can open with your certificate. You can open one lab and open as many branches you can, and that is what we are encouraging. That we don't want our people to be employed by people who are just businessmen, but we want our colleagues to own labs, own marketing companies that sell medical laboratory and hospital consumables, so that we can also have a market share in this area. So there's currently a survey being done by the profession to look at the private sector the gaps in the sector, the opportunities available, how we can position ourselves to do that. The Vice President is currently coordinating that. The essence of this is that when you want to approach an investor to invest or to make use of the available opportunities, you have to go with data that this is a viable business. Even though we know it's viable, we have to support it with data. So very soon, when the study is concluded, we will engage stakeholders, both in academia, practice members, and everybody to look at what is available, how we can utilize this and get grants for our members to set up and also have a market share in the business, not just to complete school and be seeking government to employ them. So we are working on this. The president will want to contribute to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, GS. So, like Prof just indicated, Prof, we'll contact you to get in touch with the marketing consultant. I think this is a very important data that we can retrieve and be able to use it to put our profession in the right space. So, Prof, we'll come to you and then we'll link up and then we'll urge members that when we start that research with the consultant, we'll get enough participation. This is all to help the profession in order to position ourselves strongly in the market space. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so today Prof has given the professional body a lot of work. It's not work though. These are great ideas coming out of this. And that is the essence of it. There are a lot of things that we can learn from each other. There are a lot of ideas we can learn from people who we think are not very participatory in professional business, but they have a great lot of ideas to share with the professional body. And the good news is that these things are recorded and they are always available. We'll go back to them, look at the opportunities available, and implement same for the benefit of the profession. So, Prof, we are grateful for the many ideas you have brought up today, and God richly bless you. And it comes back to the fact that all these ideas will need money. So we'll try and look at how we can put some great minds together and look at funding sources for implementation of these ideas. We are grateful.
Thank you.
We should be running up the discussion, and I don't know whether my colleague, today I've been alone. I don't know whether Bernard is available now. Bernard, are you available?
Yes, I'm here, except that I cannot trust my network, but I'm here. Hello?
So Bernard, I think you have brilliant questions and contributions for Prof. I will just give you some few minutes to engage Prof, and then we'll go to the concluding stages. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I think that most of the questions you have dealt with, I was able to track the conversation along the line, and so most of the issues have been addressed. However, there is this controversial question I wanted to pose. I think I've even shared in the chat already. Prof, if you are comfortable, you can attempt that, but if you are not, you may also decide not to. But there's this discussion recently on social media space about one guy who is calling the bluff of the acquisition of a PhD in Ghana as compared to the acquisition of a Dutch passport. Now, the argument is centered or is being considered as if that there are a lot of challenges and then training as far as undergraduates and their postgraduates is concerned. Now, Prof, with your passion in training and where you stand as an academician, do you sincerely think that there is something wrong with our training? And what are your general comments about this discussion that apparently a lot of Ghanaians seems to positively embrace embrace it. What's your view on it? And again, do you think that there's something wrong with that training? Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you. 2 in 1. PhD or Dutch visa over PhD, and then if there's something wrong with our training. Dutch visa over PhD is a matter of choice. I remember when I was a kid, there was this song on GTV or GBC TV then. It was titled Choices. It was sung by one Nigerian actress, musician, or songstress, if I can call her. But I think Onyeka Owen. You can see that song on social media or on YouTube. The title of the song is Choices. It's a matter of choice. He values Dutch passport over PhD. And so that's his choice. But if you ask me, like I said, that is his choice. It's a free world. In our constitution, you have the right to do whatever you desire, so long as it does not infringe on the rights of others. So he has decided to settle for a Dutch passport and run down a PhD. That is for him. The quality of training compared to the West, we have a lot of challenges. But within the challenges, we have been able to train some outstanding graduates who the West is poaching. How we are getting? We have a lot of challenges. We are training health information professionals without a computer lab. We used to have no lab in UCC. We were hopping from one lab to the other. And gradually we have a lab. So there are a lot of challenges when it comes to training. But even with the resource constraints, those on the ground do their best to train. And then the West, who have challenges with our training, come to poach. And we train materials who are trainable. We produce graduates who are trainable. I hope you are getting me. So some of these things, when people talk about the quality, I tend to have issues. Because even with the resource constraint that we find ourselves in, we are able to produce graduates who have the right mindset, who are trainable and are able to fit in when they go outside. So what we need to work on is for government to resource institutions, or maybe go the GIMPA way. I think I'm not so sure, but I think GIMPA is a private, it's being run on fee-paying basis, So either government will resource the institutions, or government will allow the institutions to take adequate fees and resource their labs and train their students. And that way, we'll produce graduates who will fit into the market because they have the right collection of skills. I'm talking as a scientist. I don't know for the other disciplines, but if either government will resource us or government will say, take the right fees with right supervision and enforcement, we'll be able to equip our labs, equip our skills, labs, and then train our students, then ready them for our market, and then the international market. Those in Cuba will tell you, Cuba will train a lot and ship them outside. So we can do that if only the right energies, resources will be channeled. And then, even in our current state, our students are going out, they go through the system, they get to Europe, America, and they are working, and they are able to deliver. So having been in the space, I'll tell you, yes, a few challenges which you can find in other places, but our graduates are well equipped, and when they go, they perform. I'm sure those who go out there will tell you where there are challenges are the molecular part, but we have given them the basic training set that wherever they find themselves, they are able to adapt, grow, and excel. That is what I'll say. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Like I said, it was a very controversial one. Thank you. But my last submission, then I'll hand over to Secretary. I think I followed you in your initial accounts of your personal and professional life. I recall you said that by accident you had to become a medical laboratory professional, but your target was to be a journalist or to enter into journalism. Now, I'm still getting back to where you find yourself. I mean, you are an academician, somebody who is a lover of learning. Do you ever see yourself going back to journalism? For me, I think that it would have been very good, because looking at the love that you have for the profession and how you have been able to associate closely with the profession up to now, don't you think that it would have been very good for us? Especially, I'm talking about recently the Melpool issue. If we have seasoned journalists or people who are well trained in journalism to also help the profession in communication, doing the media engagement and all that. What is your take about it? Do you ever see yourself maybe in the future considering some of these opportunities, especially with your interest in journalism? Thank you very much.
No, I don't think I'll go back for journalism. I was very vocal as a kid, very vocal. I love to write, and I write anything that my mind that comes to mind. Like no, I don't think now. I'm considering other options, not journalism, and I'm focused on my research and teaching and management in academia. So I don't think I'll have to train or get some form of training in journalism. Perhaps law, yes, but not journalism.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So, GS, I think because of time, I'll hand over to you. Over.
Bernard, thank you very much. I must say that you are one of the pillars behind the successes of the profession. You are one of the pillars that when I call on you, you don't ever disappoint and you answer my calls. I'm very grateful, and I pray that you continue to support whoever takes the position of the General Secretary to excel and also give the best that person can give going forward. Very grateful. So before we conclude, I think there's Kama. Can you come up?
Hello. Hello.
Can you go ahead?
All right. Thank you very much, General Secretary. In fact, Prof, I'm overwhelmed with your submissions, and in fact, we pray that you live long to support the profession. My one is a question and one is an add-up. The question is, as if I heard Prof saying after his first degree from Ken University, he saw the path that led him to obtaining his PhD. And I don't know, Prof, if you wouldn't be bothered to share that particular path that you saw over there that led you to obtaining the PhD. And then the second one that I want to add up is just a mere suggestion. I think GS made some suggestions on the marketing issue of medical laboratory professional. And I would just like to add up that in case we are opening that particular space for medical laboratory scientists to establish labs without number, and then open it also up for other professionals as well, I think there should be a control to that, because other professionals who are non-lab professionals can take very big advantage of this and then end up establishing labs, employing other non-laboratory professionals who they think might have an idea of bench training from somewhere else, and then it will end up creating a whole lot of big problems for the profession because one, they could produce some results, weird results that would tarnish the image of the laboratory profession as a whole. And then secondly, too, it will also denigrate the name of the profession and the professionals as well. In establishing laboratory stores, for example, as well, I think there should be control in that particular aspect as well. If it is the laboratory professional who is going to bring the items, fine. But if it is otherwise, then I think we should look into it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother. So before even Prof comes in, let me correct the conversation. Our target is to open opportunities for ourselves, not for any other person. And we encourage our medical laboratory professional to take up this challenge. The small that you have, try and partner together. Establishing a lab may seem difficult and capital intensive, but let's learn partnership such that in our labs where we work, let's find like-minded persons from school. Let's develop these ideas and get close friends and enter into these ventures. So the idea is not to create opportunities for non-med lab persons, rather to create opportunities for ourselves. Your issue with regulating the number of labs one can open, we'll look at it when the stakeholder consultations are being held. Thank you very much. Prof, President want to add up to it before Prof comes in. Thank you.
So clearly, you realize that is the reason why we keep on indicating that we need our own regulator. Okay, if you observe what the pharmacists are doing, because they have their own regulator, they are able to control this. Those days, one pharmacist can be a retailer, can be a wholesaler. He or she, his license can be used for in different regions. Now it is not so. Now you're either a retailer or a wholesaler. Your certificate can only be used in your district, not even in the region, or in your district alone. You can't use it in two other districts within the same region. So these are things that sometimes when we are pushing for certain policies and for certain things, members need to understand why we are not doing it for fun. When we have our own regulator that understands our work and knows what we can do, we are able to regulate some of these things and be able to put caps onto, so that at least we can give more members the opportunity, so that they can also have the opportunity to also practice or be in the private sector or any other place. When there are systems in place, things work very well. So let's continue to push the agenda, and I'm sure we will surely get there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, President. So, Prof.
Okay, so the question was on the you wanted to know the door that open, eh? Hello.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, please. And that the first, but because of the submissions from President and the other guy, if you can repeat the first part of the question. I've lost track a bit. If you can repeat the first part of the question.
Come on,
hello.
Remind
Yes.
Prof.
All right, Prof. Okay. I was asking in your submission, I heard you say after you obtained your first degree from KNUST, you saw the path that led you to obtaining the PhD. And I was asking if you wouldn't be bothered to share with us that path.
Well, not at all. So I'm saying that I said that when we graduated, there was an opportunity. You know, KNUST at some point realized that their professors then back in the day, 2002, 3, are getting old and they are not able to attract young guys to take, how do you call it, fill the gap, you know, or the space or the void created by the old guys retiring or going on pension. So they initiated, I think it was a 3-year program to more like provide opportunities for people to train, to get PhDs with some scholarships. So wherever Prof. Nafi is, I will salute him. Like I said earlier, you move with the right guys. If you move with the right people, when there are opportunities, they will link you up. So I was then in the northern region with Tamale with Prof. Nafi. So when he enrolled the following year, he bought the forms for me. He actually asked me to buy the forms, and he bought for me, and the rest is history. So I'm saying that the opportunities are there. Have a vision, have a focus. Opportunities are there. Move with the right people. So for me, my nephew was my flatmate, and he left. He started. He saw I was capable. I can do it, and he managed to get me on board. And the rest is history. So that opportunity was created by the university to train PhDs and retain them. And that is how we went through. So if you want to get to the top, you have to be tactically aware, as the coaches will tell you. You have to be aware of what is going on in your surroundings, move with the right people, try and get yourself into the right environment. And this comes when you are focused. Because when you are focused, you always find yourself in the right places, and you always find yourself with the right contacts. And that is what can lead you to achieve your dream. That is what I have to say. Thank you.
All right. So on this note, I know Prof, because he benefited from people created a path for him. He has not ceased also creating path for the young generation, and he will cease not to create a path. And one thing I've also gotten from this presentation is that when you serve people also, or you touch their life, they pray for you. We've heard a lot of "may you live long." It means that you have to continue to do good wherever you find yourself, for people to wish you and pray for you to live long. Prof, I'm going to continue to also touch lives, do good, so that when people pray for me to live long, God will give me long life to see generations and generations. So I pray that continue to serve people, continue to impact life, and continue to live long, as many have said. We are grateful for your time today. We are grateful for the knowledge shared with us. Most of them, you said them in passing, but I know you have written them down already. So behind the scene, I'll contact you, and all these ideas will work together to materialize them and also develop a great impact for the future. We are grateful for your time shared with us. This is a great consultation. It's not just a mere interview or a mere an interaction with you, but these are consultancy ideas that we even have to pay you for as a consultant. So thank you very much for all the great works you are doing. And it's important to also mention that your students are happy about your relationship issue. When we posted this in, some student will say that, oh, this is a great man, he's a great professor. It means that they see how you relate to them and how you impact their life. So what we can say is that keep it up and live long, as people have prayed for you. We want to take the last words from you, and then we end. Thank you.
All right. I will thank the team, you and your team, for the honor and opportunity, and also thank the viewers and listeners for taking time off their schedule. I know some have left their microscopes, their analyzers, to come and listen to me. I'll thank you for that. But one thing I would say is I saw somebody ask a question. He said, does the lab have a future? I tried. In fact, I found it quite difficult. I don't know the motivation for that question. Does the lab have a future? It depends on where you are standing. But yes, we do. But it depends on us. So, like I said, I worked with one man in 2004 after university. I manned his lab. And his words have been with me after 20 years. He said, jealously guard what fills your plate. So it's up to us. So long as the lab is where we get our daily bread, we have to jealously guard it. Make it better than we met it. I tell my students that back in the day in Kolebu, I walked into the lab accidentally. So it was quite demoralizing, what we were seeing or what we used to see in LabTech in 97, 98. But now with some effort and passion, the lab is better than we came to meet it in the 90s and the early part of the 2000s. And I don't think we have to throw that energy, that desire, that drive away. We have to keep on fighting. We should fight. It is our profession. We should fight and guard it. And I'm sure in the future, generations will not forget about us. It happened in the US, people fought, and now the lab is something that is admirable globally, So it is our turn to do same. Okay, it's our turn to do same. We should fight for it. We should be seen to be taking charge of our professions. I am looking forward to the day where laboratory consultant will determine the test that should be done for a patient. We should be seen to be taking control of our space. We should not leave it to people. We should make the right contacts, create the right connections, and control our sphere, control our space. Okay, so that's what I'll say. We have a bright future, but we need to work hard. We need to work for it. And if we work, we will definitely achieve our desired targets. I thank you once again for the opportunity. And God bless us all.
Very grateful for the time. So if somebody started as a certificate technician and is a consultant and also a professor, how can you say there's no future? There's indeed a future for the profession. And it is good that we are positive about that future. Let's imagine that future, and it will help us work towards the future. Prof, we are grateful for the opportunity. On behalf of the National Executive Council, especially the President, he says I should say thank you for all the time shared with us. Thank you for the ideas. And he's smiling. I'm here with him. I don't know whether he has some final words to tell you.
Hello, Prof. Thank you very much for the support. I know when it comes to professionalism, you always gives us inspiration. Some of us, even though it's late, but you realize that some of us are still working and working in your footsteps, because we believe that as we move on, we need to inspire the upcoming generation. And so we want to thank you so much for what you have been doing, for what you have done, and for what you continue to do for the profession. And we pray that you continue to give us the advice. I know you are normally the type who is always behind the scene, pushing the advice and then the suggestions. And we really, really appreciate all those supports. Let me reiterate it once again. The marketing consultant, we will be very glad if you can link us to the marketing consultant so that we can together be able to work everything out and then be able to get the kind of results or the kind of things that we can boldly speak to as a profession. So, Prof, on behalf of the profession and the National Executive Officers and Council, I say a big thank you. And to members who took time off their busy schedule to join this particular session, we say a big thank you. Continue to join us on this monthly program, and you will be inspired. Through these programs, you will surely also find your footing, where tomorrow we'll be calling upon you to also inspire others as we go along in pushing our profession to the highest level. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So on that note, we say bye for now. The profession has a future, and it's important that we see that future and work towards the future. We have also learned today that we have to guard and protect our profession. So we have a duty as individuals and as professionals to guard the space that we work in, that space that feeds us, the profession that feeds us. Let's get involved. Let's protect the profession. Thank you and bye. And we want to say thank you to the many great minds behind the scene that makes this program very successful. The editorial committee led by the PRO. PRO, we are grateful for your contribution. Bernard and everybody who contributed to the program. Prof, thank you and a goodbye.
Thank you.